Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here once again. Today we're going to have a look at how to play Rosalie by Thin Lizzy, the opening track from the band's 1975 album Fighting. A cover, if you didn't know, of a 1973 Bob Seger original from an early album of his that's been long out of print and pretty much forgotten about these days. Now, I've heard this song plenty of times in my lifetime, but truly had no idea until recently that it was originally written and recorded by Bob Seger, of all people. That said, this is one of those tracks that over time Thin Lizzy pretty much made their own. Like myself, most people are much more familiar with this particular version and not so much with the earlier Bob Seger cut of the track from a couple of years previous. Regardless, great classic rock track from the boys of Thin Lizzy and Bob Seger, of course. Let's close in here a little bit, learn how to play it, shall we? Good then, Rosalie and Thin Lizzy. We are in standard tuning for this tutorial, though I believe the studio version of this one is down a half step, but we'll keep it in standard tuning for this tutorial for simplicity purposes. Now, the opening riff to this one is also the chorus, with this track having 3 verses and 3 choruses that are all played the exact same way. So we'll do a walkthrough up to the end of the first chorus and then jump right to the bridge and then the short solo that this one has. See if I can keep this tutorial to 7 or 8 minutes or so. So the opening riff. So we're starting with an A power chord here at the 2nd fret position. And then we're going to jump the whole thing up an octave, make a bar on the 14th fret, and drop right into a D over A. So this D over A chord here is the 16th fret of the D string, 15th fret of the B. We're going to strike that twice off to the bar. Right, then we're going to do a couple of quick open A's. And then we're going to hammer back into that D over A and strike it 6 times in 2 groups of 3. So a little down, up, down, right? And then right back off to the bar again and repeat 4 times. And then we're into the first verse. So we're going to drop back into A again. We're going to strike this A power chord, let it ring for 1 bar, and then we're going to drop into D over A in this position and let that ring for 1 bar. So it's the 4th fret of the D string, 3rd fret of the B. Back to A, into the riff. For 1 repeat. Back to A, into D over A, into the riff. Right, so that's the verse, just repeating that twice. And then we're into the pre-chorus. We're going to go off to E, an E power chord for 2 bars. We're going to strike this, rather aggressively at first, and then we're going to just kind of lightly chug, right? And at the beginning of the 2nd bar, we're going to repeat that. Into this. So we're grabbing basically a G chord here, right? But we're only touching upon the bottom 2 or 3 strings. And we're kind of muting the A string with the pad of our middle finger here, which is on the 3 of the low E. We're going to strike that twice, off to 2, off to open, and then drop into a D5 chord. A D chord, D power chord, basically, without touching upon the high E string here, right? We're going to strike that 3 times. Right, and you repeat that twice. So E for 2 bars, into G, and repeat into the riff. And that is the chorus at that point, and then we just drop right into the 2nd verse. So coming out of the 2nd chorus, right, we drop into the bridge. So we're going to drop into a little A blues progression here for 1 bar. A power chord here just bouncing off the 4 of the D string twice. kind of like that, right? Then we're going to move it up to E, do the exact same thing, but we're going to double time the picking, so we're going to kind of get it galloping, right? that kind of deal. Ba-da-dum, 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 right, and repeat. Ba-da-dum, 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 and then we're into this. Leading into the solo. So we're going from D to A, D to A, D to A. D to A, D to A, and then 2 bars of E, building, 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 into the solo, right? So the solo, pretty easy solo here. That is the solo. So it's in A major, and we're in this little A major pentatonic box. Right? It's the same as the F sharp minor pentatonic. It's the relative minor of A major, but this 14, 16, 14, 16, 14, 17, 14, 17, right? And we're starting here on the 17 of the B with 3 full step bends. Right? Into this. And I'm not going to pick apart every note here. It's all in this box. 14, 16, 14, 16, 14, 17, right? Starting with those 3 bends. Into this. Finishing on that 16 of the D and sliding out of it, right? And that's the opening lick. And then we're into this. All on the 14 16s of the D and the G. Right, little pull off from 16 to 14 to begin it. Up to the 16, back to the 14. Drop onto that 16 of the G, little full step bend, choke it off at the top. Right, kind of like that. Second one. Almost the same thing, but it finishes differently. Finishes on that 16 of the D. And then we're going to drop onto the 17 of the B for 9 or 10 full step bends, right? And then the 9th or 10th one, you're going to grab that 17 of the high E underneath with your pinky and then release that final bend back to the natural note, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, and that is the solo. And so let's take from the top, and then we'll be done because we're just going to drop right back into another verse chorus. So. And there you go, my friends. That is how you play Rosalie by Thin Lizzy. Certainly hope you enjoyed that, found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button right down there. Maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be very kind. Hope you're well out there, and we'll see you next time, yeah? Cheers.